Well, good evening, my parents and students who might be watching this video. This is Miss Fernandez. This is going to be one tutorial video that I will be posting throughout the year to hopefully help you guys with when it comes to homework or even in class. And parents, you can watch these videos to maybe help your students during homework. So in today's video, we are going to talk about the area model versus partial products and as well as the standard method. So first things first, for the next unit, so from chapter 3 and chapter 4 unit, we are going to be seeing a lot of the area model and partial products being used. Sorry, forgive my lighting. And I just want to walk you through on how it is that we are going to do it. Because as you've probably noticed, parents, in the homework for the last 2 weeks-ish, we have been doing double digit, triple digit, and quadruple digit multiplication times a single digit number. This week, we are going to be starting double digit times double digit, where we have 2 digits times another 2-digit number. But for today, we are just going to talk about the differences between area model and partial products. So first things first, the difference between area model and partial products is that for the area model, there's a rectangle. Partial products is we are just breaking a number apart. So for example, just to keep it consistent, let's say we have a problem. For example, 347 times 2, just to keep it simple and easy. Okay, now I know automatically, especially some students and even maybe some of you parents, you automatically want to see this and go, ooh, I know how to do that using the standard method of multiplication, where you branch out the 2 to different place values and you carry the 1 or carry the 3 or carry the 4, depending on whatever it is that you got for multiplying, which is not wrong. In fact, that is totally acceptable. However, on the homework, I want your students to recognize the difference between the area model and partial products, because that is something that we talk about constantly in class, is area model and partial products. The standard method is not banned from my classroom. Let me make that very clear. You can use it. However, especially when we go back to online homework, this week we're taking a break from the online homework and we are just doing regular worksheet homework. But starting up next week, again, we're going to go back to online homework and you're going to see a lot of the area model versus the partial products. And I want your students not to be afraid of that. Okay, so for example, we are going to start with the area model because I feel this one is slightly simpler to explain than partial products. Now, just to be clear, the area model and partial products are essentially the same thing. The misconception that there is, so the common mistakes that Ms. Fernandez sees a lot is, one, is when you are doing the area model, you start with the biggest place value first and then work your way down. Whereas in partial products that you will see in a couple minutes, we start with the ones place and work our way up. That is one common mistake that a lot of students get jumped up about. They are essentially the same thing. You just work the order differently, okay? Now, to set up the area model, one, obviously you need a box. What you are going to notice on some homework and even in the textbook is when they do the area model, unlike Miss Fernandez, you're going to notice that in some cases, especially when we are dealing with triple digit and 4-digit numbers, that these boxes get smaller and smaller and smaller. The reason why they get smaller, like where they're, like, let's say we had like a 4-digit and like you see like this part right here is just a line, is because it is based off of place value. I personally do not like it. Sorry, I just dropped my eraser. I personally do not like it. because that just seems totally unnecessary, because at the end of the day, you are still going to get the same answer, no matter how your box is drawn. But in the book, on some worksheets, it is going to do that. And I know some students get intimidated by that because then they think, oh my gosh, where am I going to write my answer? You can still write it. You'll just have to write it underneath here instead of inside the box. So for the area model, how we separate it is based off of this. So your 2, whatever you are multiplying by, meaning however many groups or whatever it is that you are making, is always going to go on the side. Okay, your biggest number, in the case of this problem, 347, will always go on the top. Now, the area model wants you to separate the digits based off of the place value on the very top. So, for example, in the first box, it would be 300. Okay, 300 goes in the first box because 1, it's the biggest place value, and 2, we need to, when we multiply, you are going to see how kind of a little bit slightly easier it is to multiply instead of doing the standard method where we branch out and carry over something. Okay, so, but obviously this is 300, all right? This part here, the second part is going to be 40, and then this part here is going to be 7. So you see, look, we have 347. The only difference is we just broke it up into its expanded form, and students should know what expanded form is by now. So we just, on the top of our area model, we just put 347 in expanded form, in expanded notation. All right? Now comes the easy part, in my opinion, is now we multiply, okay? So I just put that here as kind of a reference to remind me that, hey, I am multiplying each of these numbers. All right, so you're kind of doing that standard algorithm where you're branching it. The only difference is 1, we're not starting in the ones place, and 2, we don't have to do all the place values. So that's another difference too, which in my opinion is much easier than having to write out all the zeros. So now we just do our basic multiplication. So 2 times 3 is 6, but since we are doing 2 times 300, we have to add the 2 zeros because this is not 2, it's not 6, it is 600. All right, because we are in the hundreds place. Now we move on to the tens place. 2 times 40, 2 times 4 is 8, carry down that 0 because guess what? We are in the tens place, so that means it is going to have that funny 0 that comes down. So that means our final answer for this box is going to be 80. 2 times 4 is 8. Carry the 0, that is 80. All right. And then last but not least, the ones place, which is super easy. That doesn't do any change at all. We have 2 times 7, which gives us 14. See? Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Now we do the next part, which is we just add. All right. Now we just do standard addition. 0 plus 4 is going to be 4. 8 plus 1 is 9. We have plus 0, which is just going to keep it at 9. And then finally, 6 plus zeros is going to be 6. So our final answer is going to be 694. So that is our final answer. Now that is just using the area model. Okay. Now we go to partial products. Okay. So I'm just going to rewrite my algorithm, my multiplication problem. Okay. All right. Now, when we start off, it looks like I'm going to do the standard multiplication method. The only difference is I'm not branching out. I am just now doing what I did in the area model, which is I am now just going to break apart my products, my number, my biggest number, which is 347. The only difference that the book and the homework does is when they break it up starting in the ones place. So now we are working backwards. It is essentially, literally, verbatim, the same thing. The only difference is 1, partial products, you don't have to box anything. You just leave it out. All right. 2, we're just going backwards. So instead of starting in the hundreds place, tens and ones, we now start at the ones go to the tens, and go to the hundreds. So it's very similar to the standard algorithm. All right. So now what I like to do is I just like to break apart my stuff before I multiply. So I know this part right here is going to be easy. That's 2 times 7. My next part right here, this 4 is in the tens place. So that means that is not 2 times 4. That is 2 times 40. And students, hopefully you remember, but 40 is 10 times bigger because it is in the tens place and not the ones place. So if we remember, 4 times 10 is 40, all right? That gives us 40 right there because it's in the tens place. We just add that 0. And then last but not least, 2 times 300 because the 3 is in the hundreds place, all right? And it's 100 times bigger than the ones place, all right? Hope you guys are seeing that. Now, just like over in the area model, now we just multiply. The only difference is look, we just have smaller, we just broke apart the number just in a different way. It is still going to be the exact same thing if you do your math correctly. So now I'm just gonna do 2 times 7 is 14, 2 times 40 is 80, and then 2 times 300 is 600. I hope everybody is seeing that, all right? So now I'm just going to add these just like I did here. As I said, they're essentially the same. The only difference is that's in a box, this is not. Now, this is another mistake that I catch students making mistakes on, parents and students too, is the addition. A lot of students who do the partial products one is fine. However, you guys forget that this is not in the hundreds place. So you cannot do 1 plus 8 plus 6. That is why if you are anything like Miss Fernandez, whose stuff is not lined up, rewrite your addition problem before you add, because this is a problem that I have with a lot of students, especially on the Chapter 2 test. They did not line up their numbers, and it makes a lot of difference when you line up your numbers. So let's see, look, 0 plus 4 is 4, 8 plus 1 is 9, and obviously that's a 0, so we don't worry about it. 6 plus 0 is 6. And see, look, my answers are the same. Now, I bet some of you are wondering, well, what about the standard method? Is it going to be the same answer? Yes, if you are multiplying correctly. Now, be very careful because some students I notice, especially today, when they try it out, the standard method, they're not branching out or adding their carryover numbers correctly. So be very, very careful. So first things first, I do 2 times 7. 2 times 7 is 14. I carry my 1, just like in regular addition math. Now I go to my next place value. This is where it gets different because instead of just sticking with the ones and the ones, I have to branch out to all the other place values because I am not just focusing on adding, multiplying my ones into a ones place value. I am multiplying the entire number. So everything will be times 2. That is why we are branching out. So 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 more, that is 9. And then 2 times 3 is obviously going to be 6, 694. And just to tell you, this is the standard way. So this is like what Miss Fernandez and maybe some of you parents grew up on. All right, so we have the area model, we have partial products, and we have the standard way. Notice how all three of them have the same answer. Okay, there is no wrong way to solve these problems when we're multiplying. There's no wrong way of doing it. Just one, make sure that you know how to do it, how to do each way. And 2, don't be afraid to branch out and try different ways. Because I know some students, they want to stick with one thing. Let me tell you, sometimes that one thing is not always going to be convenient for you in other problems. And you're going to notice that when we start chapter 4 tomorrow, when we are doing double digits times double digits. it is not going to be as simple as, oh, let me do the standard algorithm. Because we're using the standard algorithm right now is really, really nice. When you're doing double digit by double digit, it's much, much trickier. You don't get that niceness. All right. So hopefully this was helpful. As I said before, you can use any of these 3 ways. There's no wrong way answer. Just make sure, 1, that you understand how to use them, and 2, don't be afraid to branch out, okay? And you are more than welcome to rewatch this video time and time, as many times as possible, if it helps you. And parents, I hope that this was helpful in how to help your student with their math homework. I will be more than happy to post more videos on this on the off chance anybody is confused on how to do anything. Feel free to reach out to me, okay? And I will do my best to post more videos like this throughout the rest of the year, okay? Other than that, good luck on the homework this week. It is all review. And yeah, hopefully this was helpful. And I will see you all in the next, and I will see you all very soon. All right, have a good one. Bye.